Hi. Well, it has been 7 months since my last video, and I did not even realize it until I looked at YouTube, actually at my videos, and I saw 7 months ago, which I'm really surprised. 7 months ago, we were in the process of moving, and we did move. We're in this house that we're in now, and it's a lot better than being in the camper that we were in. It's nice to have room to stretch out again. I do apologize for the lengthy break. I have a lot of information to relay to you, but unfortunately, I have had a rough time. I've been really depressed. I've also been really busy with work and with moving, and there's times in your life when you feel positive and you feel like you can conquer the world and you get through things and everything is easy to do. And there are times in your life when you're really depressed and it's not so easy to do things. Sorry, it's my phone. It's not so easy to do things. Even little things like creating videos that help you to feel better, or, getting on forums that help you, or washing the dishes whenever there's a pile of dishes, because everything is so defeating because you're depressed. So, for those of you who know what I'm talking about, I know you understand. But I want to get back into our trying to conceive vlogs, and I want to share that journey with people. I have some things that I know not a lot of women go through, and I know that they need. Sorry if it just made a noise, my microphone moves. I know that they need help in finding answers because I did. I still do. And there's not a lot of answers on some of the things that I'm going through. So, since the last vlog that was put up, Trying to Conceive vlog number 8, was we were on round 2 of Clomid, and we had not yet gotten to the point of ovulation. I did have a temperature shift, a positive OPK, and what seemed to be a confirmed ovulation. However, we weren't monitored, so we're not sure. That cycle did not work. We went on to a third round at 100 milligrams again, and the day after, 2 days after ovulation, we got a really disappointing phone call. The doctor called. My husband had finally done his semen analysis, and the doctor himself called us to let us know that his sperm count was 9 million, and his motility and morphology was really low. And from the report that I have a copy of, I think the thing that stuck out the most to me was 75% of his sperm sample did not have heads. So that was a blow. So because of that, we were referred to RE, a reproductive endocrinologist, which is not in the town that I live in. It's about an hour and 20 minutes away. But he's very highly recommended. He is a great doctor, has lots of awards and acknowledgments and whatnot. So in a way, I was happy to finally be referred to an RE and be going forward. And in a way, I was really disappointed because we just ovulated and we were kind of hopeful. And with that news, it didn't seem like anything was going to happen. And it didn't. That cycle was negative. It took 2 months for me to get into the RE, and honestly, I needed that 2 months to get my mind back together. Like all you ladies know who are trying to conceive, you know that every time you try something new, or if things look brighter, you're so positive and you're like, this is gonna work. And when it doesn't work, it hurts. And when it doesn't work 3 times, it's hard to bounce back. I'm not really a bounce back kind of person. So it took me a minute. We did our first consultation with the RE, and we talked about a lot of things. In the time since I've been on YouTube, I don't know if I knew this before,
like before 7 months ago. Um, I have something called vaginismus. If you know what it is, you hopefully you don't suffer from it. You just know what it is. And if you do suffer from it, I want you to know that you're not alone, and that there's nothing wrong with your mind. It is a physical problem. Uh, for those of you who don't know, vaginismus is an involuntary spasm of sorts of the muscles in the vaginal wall. Some women, it is so bad that penetration cannot happen at all. And that's extreme cases. For other women, vaginismus makes intercourse or any kind of penetration severely painful. What happens is when something attempts to penetrate the vagina, the muscles spasm and they lock. They attempt to push out whatever is coming into them. It is extremely painful, not just physically, but emotionally. Because myself, until I knew what it was, I thought that I was absolutely crazy. I thought that something was wrong with my brain. And I tried to figure out all these things that it could be. Why did I not want to have sex? Was it not living up to what I expected, maybe? This is not something I've always had. This is something that's really come up in the last 5 years. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea. And I was on the Mommy Playbook, which I know you've heard me talk about that before, and I highly recommend it. And I was explaining how part of our trouble trying to conceive is that I don't enjoy sex. It's extremely painful. And having to do it is really hard. And a girl messaged me and said, you might have vaginismus. You should look into it. And I did. And when I found out what it was, I broke down because I finally had an answer to something that I thought I, myself, alone in my head was causing. Now, vaginismus can be made worse mentally because you get an anxiety once vaginismus starts because it is painful, and you get anxious towards knowing that it is going to be painful again. So you in turn make the vaginismus worse. It does get increasingly worse. It is not that common. A lot of doctors, reproductive endocrinologists, OBGYNs, don't know how to treat it, don't know how to handle it, really, because there's not a lot of research out there. There's a couple places that specifically deal with vaginismus, and there are things that you can do, and I'll talk about that in another video. But the reason I'm telling you this is because this is another huge hurdle in our journey to a baby, and it's going to come up a lot in the future. So when we met with the RE for the first time, we talked about my vaginismus. We talked about my husband's semen analysis. We talked about our 3+ years of trying to conceive unsuccessfully. And we set up an appointment to do a new semen analysis. We set up an appointment to do an HSG, which is an HSG, for those of you who don't know, is a procedure where they insert dye into your uterus and into the fallopian tubes. And if the dye comes out of the fallopian tubes, that means your tubes are clear. If the dye does not, that means there is blockage. And then surgery has to be performed in order to repair it if it's repairable. I was really scared to do that, but I knew it had to be done. So of course we agreed to it. So we made an appointment for that. We went into the RE's office, and I was really nervous. They told me to take ibuprofen, but I didn't. I took something much stronger. I took a muscle relaxer. And it's a muscle relaxer that I had from a previous surgery, and they usually put me to sleep if I just take one. I'm kind of a lightweight when it comes to medicine. but I was so nervous and wired that it didn't do anything. It didn't even work at all. Um, my husband went into another room to do his semen analysis, which he was really nervous about, and I went into the room for HSG. The doctor, we talked about my vaginismus again. The speculum he used was a pediatric speculum, which is really small, and that made me feel a little better. Up until that point, I had never had a speculum inserted in me, because it couldn't be done. Um, he put the speculum in, and it was extremely, extremely painful. There are not words. I have no words to tell you how painful it was. Um, I laid there, and I was by myself in the room with the doctor and two of his nurses, and I was shaking. I was trying to focus on the screen. When you do an HSG, there's a an X-ray screen that you can see, and I could feel my body completely just tensing up more and more. I could feel, you know, the vaginal walls tightening in. It hurt so bad, and a lot of people say that the dye hurts really bad. I didn't feel the dye. All I felt was extreme ripping, tearing pain, um, in my vagina. And it was even worse when he clicked it open. Oh my god, I thought I was gonna pass out. I really did. So I'm looking at the screen, and he's pushing the dye up, and it's not coming out the tubes. I just see dye in the uterus. And I was devastated, at that point. He pulled everything out, and I was able to relax, and it took me a while to calm down from the situation. I just was a wreck. He said that, it looks like both of my tubes were blocked. And at the moment, I wanted to burst out in tears, but I didn't. He said, well, we'll have to do a laparoscopic surgery, and we'll go in there and we'll repair those tubes, and we'll check and make sure everything else is fine. And, he was very positive, good bedside manner, it was just, he said, don't worry about it, and he apologized for, the procedure being painful, and of course, it's not his fault. So I came out, and I sat in the waiting room, and I was just staring into space, because no one wants to have surgery, so I was kind of dreading that. And then I thought back of all the times that I forced myself to have intercourse, and all the medicine, and all the stress, and all the temperatures, and the OPKs, and driving myself crazy, and it was all for nothing, because I had 2 blocked tubes, and it was a lot coming down on me at once. Well, my husband comes around the corner, and he sat down, and he was like, so when are you going to go in for your HSG? I said, honey, I just had it. And he's like, oh, that was quick. And for me, it felt like 3 hours. And I told him the results, and he was like, really? And I was like, yeah. So then we were really devastated, because we waited for the next cycle to come so we could have surgery. And I will do another video, and I will talk to you about the surgery, the results of the surgery, the results of my husband's semen analysis, and where we went from there. We've been through a lot more since then. So check my next vlog, and you will have the results. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the long video. I'm sorry that it took so long for me to get back to doing this. You have any questions, please put them below, especially if you suffer from vaginismus and you need support or help or have questions. I would love to answer those for you. Thanks. Bye.